Sicha that the Rebbe spoke to the women on Sunday, the 25th of Iyar, Tafshin Nun, 1990. This Sicha is, as the Rebbe always used to address, the women would have a convention before Shavuos. This is one of the times of years that the women would have, the Sheikh Chabad would have a convention, and the Rebbe would address them and give them tzedakah. This is one of those few times of years where all the men went upstairs, either to the Vibershul or they went to listen in the second floor, and the women were downstairs. So the Rebbe says, the meeting of many Jewish people, Simcha, is an event of joy. Like my father-in-law explains. The great joy of Hashem from the unity of the Jewish people. This is like a father that rejoices when his children are also are together, are united, have love for each other, etc. And the analogy for this is, the metaphor of this is, concerning our Father in heaven, and every single Jew, concerning them it says, Bonim atem laHashem elikechem, you are children to Hashem, your God. So therefore, since we are Hashem's children, the same idea, like a parent is happy when the children are together, the same thing, Hashem rejoices when the Jewish people get together. According to the saying of the Baal Shem Tov, the love that every single Jew has by Hashem, it's like the love that an only child has. You can imagine what type of love elderly parents, that after many years not having a child, in their old age a child was born to them, so that the love that he has for that only child, the parents' love that they have for that only child, is very powerful. Therefore, in the same way, after many years of hoping and davening to Hashem to merit to have children, till they merited that Hashem fulfilled their requests and fulfilled their prayers. And he gave them either a son or daughter that is successful. So therefore it's even more emphasized, the joy of Hashem from the unity of Yidden, because of this additional aspect. It's not just any children getting together. It's not just the love that that any family's children have for each other, but it's the love of such children that have this very special place in Hashem's heart. In addition to the love that parents have for children in a normal circumstance, over here there's the additional love of an only child that was born to elderly parents in their old years, in their aged years. The Rebbe goes on the third paragraph, Yesh Lahoisif, and we can add, Shagam hachavivus de ben yochid shenold lahoidim skenim leisik nosam, hirak moshel v'dugma mechaya adam. Even the love of an only child that was born to parents in their old age is only a metaphor. It's only an example from human life to be able to know how Hashem loves the Jewish people. But it doesn't truly encapsulate it. This is understood to every person, and how much more so to a Jewish person. By Hashem's love for the Jewish people is even with greater measure than all elderly parents' love for their only child that was born in their old years. Why? Because over here we have the measure of Hashem that is beyond any type of measure and boundary. Just like Hashem is infinite, to such a degree, it's impossible to even estimate and imagine his attribute of kindness and goodness and his great love to every single person of Klal Yisrael. Kach, so too, also the joy and the delight of Hashem from the unity of the Jews, it's beyond any type of measure and boundary. I'm saying here an amazing thing, that Jews getting together makes an unbelievable simcha by Hashem that has no comparison to any type of joy that we know down here. Top of the second column. When we cause joy and delight by Hashem, just for causing joy and delight by Hashem, we receive reward from Hashem. It's added and increased even more so, more powerfully, in a greater measure in the brachas of Hashem, both in all types of good, in the material matter and also in spiritual matters. From his full and open and holy and broad hand. And we get it in Hashem's measurements. That's beyond any measure and boundary. Even though the person is limited in his capability to receive the brachas of Hashem, but still in all, but poil mamish, in actuality, it's seen. Even if the blessing of Hashem is limited because a human being cannot receive something that's unlimited because he's a created being and because he is limited, still in all, in that limited bracha that the human being receives, mizbate koyach habli gvul sheba, it's also expressed the unlimited aspect of it. Gam bezeshen imsheches ba'peiris or peiris atzoif kol adoiris, also in the fact that it comes down into the fruits and the fruits of fruits till the end of all generations. In other words, that you have children, like he's soon going to mention also, that children is a finite bracha that contains in it the infinite, like the Rebbe always speaks about how the power of procreation, the power of birth, is something that has in it an infinite state. Second paragraph on the second column. And first and foremost, concerning the primary reward by Jewish women, that's especially emphasized by a gathering of Jewish women, that Hashem benches every single Jewish woman with true Jewish nachas teirani, a Torah-dik nachas, and enjoyment of their children, from sons and daughters that are involved in Torah and its mitzvahs, and the sons and the daughters, they are also receiving the bracha when the time comes, that they will have their own sons and daughters that are involved in Torah mitzvahs, so too till the end of all generations. Last paragraph on the page. In addition to this, one woman relates to the other woman. A mother to a daughter, and a grandmother to her granddaughter. About the unique reward that they received from Hashem, avur Simcha v'atainug shegarmum, that for the sake of the joy and the delight that they caused, as a result of their meeting and joining together, especially and specifically by their gathering, that one woman relates to her friend concerning the brachas of Hashem in her home, and like the waters reflect the face back to the face. In other words, whatever one person expresses to another, the other expresses back. So her friend relates back to her about the brachas of Hashem that's appearing in her home. And during this talk about it is the daughters and the granddaughters are listening to their mothers and grandmothers talking. They're listening to what their mothers and grandmothers are relating. And they are deriving lessons from the way their grandmothers and mothers are acting. Through this is added even more so in the unity of the Jewish people. Simcha in the joy and the delight of Hashem. And the drawing down of the brachas of Hashem to every single Yid. He says in Ois Beis, he continues, now the Rebbe is going to connect this special, unique mission of the Jewish people with the idea of Sfiras HaOmer, specifically the Sfira day that we're in right now. So the Rebbe says in Ois Beis, Noisaf, in addition to what we spoke about earlier, about the great quality and advantage in the gathering of Jewish women and daughters, that's also emphasized in the content, in the meaning behind the time that by divine providence this particular gathering is taking place. This gathering is taking place like every year close to the Yom Tov of Shavuos. In the days of the counting of the Omer, it's preparation days for the Yom Tov of Shavuos. And in the days of Sfiras HaOmer itself, that include in it many days and many weeks, as it says, mitzvah lemimne yoyme, mitzvah lemimne shavuot. The Chazal say that there's a mitzvah both to count the days of the Omer and it's mitzvah to count the weeks. That's why we say X amount of days and X amount of weeks to the Omer. We say X amount of days, and then we say X that are shaheim, so many and so many weeks and so many days. So miskayim hakinus b'shana zu b'shavua shishi. The gathering is taking place this year in the 6th week of the 7 weeks of Sfiras HaOmer. HaMechuven keneged Sfiras HaYesod. The 6th week of the 7 weeks corresponds to the 6th Sfira of the 7 Sfiras we go through, which is the Sfira of Yesod, foundation. Ubeshavua Shishi Atzmai, and the 6th week itself, now we find ourselves after Ma'ariv B'Yom HaShishi. On the 6th day of the 6th week, Yesod should be Yesod. We just said the date of the foundation of foundation that we just now said during Sfira. Since everything in the world is by divine providence, how much more so when there's a gathering of many different Jewish women, so many Jewish women. Surely there's a connection and association between the content of the day, which is Yesod should be Yesod, with the gathering of Jewish women. The idea behind this is Kol Isha B'Yisrael, every single Jewish woman. He yisoid should be yisoid. She is a foundation of the foundation. Yisoid ha'amiti, the true foundation of B'lashon HaMedina. The Rebbe wanted to translate it foundation. He says it over here in the Yiddish. He writes it out with Hebrew letters, the English word. Shall call habayis. She's a foundation of the entire home. Why is it? Because liyoisa akeres habayis, because she is the mainstay of the home. Shabbat luyok hanhogas kol habayis, that upon the Jewish woman is dependent how the entire home runs. Bnei habayis, the household, habonim v'abonis, sons and daughters, v'gam habal, and also the husband is dependent on the wife. Al yisoidei haTorah mitzvah, top of the second column, on the foundations of Torah and mitzvahs. Shal yoda nasa bayis Yehudi, through the foundations of Torah and mitzvahs, the home becomes a Jewish home. V'yiseirim is even more so bayis chasidi. It's a Hasidic home, shemisnaig al pi midas chassidus, that runs according to the chassidus attribute. Loirak al pidin, that we don't just do things based and limited to halacha, elagam lefnim mishur sadin, we go also beyond the letter of the law, like the Chazal say, ezel chasid ha'is lefnim mishur sadin, that a chasid does beyond the letter of the law. Bayis a home shebechol pina shabay nikeres v'nirgeshes berchasish hakadosh baruch Hu. In every corner of that house, it's recognized and felt the bracha of Hashem, v'ashras hashchinasei, and how the Shechina dwells. Al derech hashras hashchina kiviyachol beis hakadosh baruch Hu beis hamikdash, similar to the dwelling of the Shechina, metaphorically speaking, in Hashem's home, which is the beis hamikdash. V'dugmase bayis Yehudi, similar to this, is also in a Jewish home. Shuvabchinas migdash ma'at, it's a miniature beis hamikdash. B'chaim aprotim, the chol mishpacha b'Yisrael, in the individual lives of every single Jewish family, like it says, v'shechanti b'soicham, I will dwell amongst them. Not just I will dwell in the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash, but also b'soichol echad v'achas miyisrael, within each and every man and woman. Zois v'oid. In addition to this, since the way a woman acts in her own home influences also on the homes of Jewish people that are in her neighborhood, that are around her, because other people around her learn from her. She's the foundation of the foundation. Not only of her own home, her own individual home, but also the homes of the Jewish people in her entire neighborhood. Ubefrat is especially so. That the influence that she has and the effect that she has on the homes of the Jewish people around her is not just passing through. Again, the play on the word yisoid, in a foundational way. Surely she becomes the foundation of all the Jewish homes that are in her neighborhood. When Jewish women and girls gather together in a day that's connected with the sphere of Yisoid Sheb Yisoid, Nitoisef Oid Yoiser B'Nesinas HaKoiches HaDrushim LeMilui Tafkidoi. They're given the even more so the powers and that's necessary to fulfill their job. Ki Yisoid Sheb Yisoid, as the foundation of the foundation. The Bate B'nai Yisrael, of the house of the Jewish people, Hein B'negel Noshim, both concerning women, V'Hein B'negel Bonis Shalomdus U'Mischanchos, both concerning daughters that are studying and becoming educated, Liyas HaYisoid Shebisoid B'Teim HaProtim, to eventually become the foundation of their own individual homes. Bevoy Azman, when the time comes, Sheyakimu Bayis B'Yisrael, that they will establish a Jewish home, HaYisoid HaTorah, mitzvahs, on the foundation of Torah mitzvahs. And this is added also the general directive of the days of Sfira. The days of Sfira are preparatory time for the receiving of the Torah out of a feeling of yearning and missing it and desiring it, to such a degree, we're counting the days, we can't wait. How many days already passed from the Yom Tov of Pesach, the time of our freedom, when the Skar of Yosef Chag HaShavuos and the Yom Tov of Shavuos is becoming closer. It's Matan Torah saying with the time of the giving of our Torah. Since by the giving of the Torah, the women preceded the man, like it says, so you should say to the house of Yaakov. And the Chazal explain, who is the house of Yaakov? Literally the person that makes the home, the women. Elu Anoshim, it's referring to the women. Only afterwards, as I say in the pasuk, you will tell the sons of Yisrael, the sons are going on a men. Why were they addressed first? Liyoson hayisoid shall call bayis Yehudi, because they are the foundation of every Jewish home canal, like we said before. So therefore, since the Torah was given to the women before the men, they also have to be prefaced also in the preparation for receiving the Torah, through the fact that they are the ones that cause to permeate the entire household, as the desire and the yearning for receiving the Torah. It is our life and it's the length of our days. Like we just now said in Ma'ariv, the Chol Echad V'Ech Yisrael, the Klal Yisrael, that every single member of Klal Yisrael and the whole Klal Yisrael, Loirak Chayim Stam. They don't just have Chayenu through Torah. It's not just that the Torah is their life, Aladafka Arichas Yamim, but length of days, like it says, V'Oirech Yameinu. Shekoilol includes Noisef al Ribu Ayam, in addition to many days, Gam Shekol Yom Hu Aruch, every day is long. It says Oirech Yameinu or Arichas Yamim, it doesn't say many days. Could it say Ribu Yamim? What's Arichas Yamim? Every day is long. What does it mean every day is long? When the day is filled with content, so the day is long. She says, because the day is filled with all matters of everlasting holiness and goodness, until it adds power and vitality. These long days add vitality and energy in the days prior to it and the days following it. And this matter, yesh limud vayira, ba'oifen asfira, top of the second column. In this matter, there is a lesson and what we could learn from the type of sfira. Shesoifrim es hamispar hakoilol, v'lo es hamispar hasiduri. We count the number that's inclusive, not the number in order. Shnei yamim, we say it's 2 days to the Omer, not the second day of the Omer. Shloisha yamim, it's 3 days to the Omer, not the third day to the Omer. V'chein halo, and so on. Sha'achon l'kabol sa'Torah, the preparation for the receiving of the Torah. Shenas bin yuchad al dein Shiur Yisrael, that happens specifically through Jewish women. He ba'oifen is in such a manner shebachol yom yeshna b'shleimus kol inyonei avodah shahayu b'yom shalfanav. Every day there is perfectly and completely all matters of the avodah, that whatever service, whatever divine service they were doing previously, v'aleim nitoisef oidyoiser, it was added even more. So in other words, it's not that we have the second day, but we don't have the first day, or we have the third day, but we don't have day 1 and 2. Rather, we still have with us day 1, and on top of that, we have now 2 days, and on top of that, we have now 3 days. We increase day to day, from week to week, until the 6th day of the week, till the 6th I'm sorry, Liyom Hashishi b'Shavua Shishi, until we come to the 6th day of the 6th week, that we are now present in Yisoid Shabi Yisoid, the foundation of foundation. Zois v'oi, this an additional Shenasi Yisoid Musad. It's a Yisoid Shabi Yisoid b'Chol Bayis Yisrael. It's a founded foundation in every Jewish home. Shenoisef ala shleimus dayom shalifnei, in addition to the perfection of the days prior to it. We are increasing, and it's added every single day in matters of in all matters of Torah mitzvahs. Automatically comes about from this the drawing down of the brachas of Hashem. In addition to the perfection of the bracha of the days prior to it, Hashem adds in his brachas from day after day to everything that's necessary for a Jewish home and a Hasidic home, in both the physical and the spiritual together. We'll skip a little bit over to the next page. The Rebbe is the part that we're skipping over is the idea of, has to do with last week's parsha, but we will talk about one part that the Rebbe says concerning the women. The Rebbe asks the well-known question on last week's parsha. It says, it'll be when you come to Eretz Yisrael, when you'll come to Eretz Yisrael, v'shavsar Shabbos l'Hashem, and the earth will observe a Shabbos, meaning a Shemitah year. And the Rebbe says the famous question arises, seemingly first you got to have 6 years work, like he says later on, and then you have a 7th year. So why does it say when you come to the earth, you will observe a 7th year? And the Rebbe said that, or when you come to the land instead of coming to the earth, that it's referring to when you come down here into the world and you're dealing with earthly matters, your focus and your whole direction and your whole appreciation has to be that it's about Shabbos l'Hashem. And the Rebbe is going to bring that now concerning women and their role in the Jewish home. That the Jewish home is also like this idea of V'hoi kisavoyu ala aretz, and it has to be based on making it a Shabbos l'Hashem. So we're going to go to the second column on this page. Ois Hey. Just like this is spoken about in the general idea of Eretz Yisrael, that our focus needs to be when we come into Eretz Yisrael, even while we're still doing earthly things, it has to be focused on the Shabbos component. So too, it's in every individual home amongst the Jewish people. Called by his prati b'Yisrael hu bedugmas Eretz Yisrael haaretz. Every single Jewish home is similar to Eretz Yisrael, which is hinted to in the pasuk where it says kisavayu ala aretz. Eretz, a land or a bias, a home. It's called Eretz Yisrael, or a home of Yisrael, meaning a land or a home that's in the control and under the ownership of a Yisrael. And why is it called Yisrael? Because you overpowered gods and men and you overcame them. A description, a name that emphasizes the overpowering all difficulties that are a result of the world and everything around it. Both from the perspective of men, and both from the perspective of gods, meaning malachim, malachim, supernal powers like Yaakov had to battle the Sarish al Esav, a malach of Esav. Hakshurim manog sateva, that these are malachim and koiches, spiritual koiches that are connected with nature. So a yid overcomes even those spiritual forces that has to do with nature. The nasis hanhoga, and the way things run is the way it's run according to Yiddishkeit and Torah. Like it's also emphasized in the Rosh Tevis of Yisrael. Yes, there are 600,000 letters to the Torah is the acronym that's found in the word Yisrael. Concerning this, it says, when you will come to the land, the earth will have a Shabbos for Hashem. Shakashenichnasim l'Eretz Yisrael, when we enter Eretz Yisrael, l'bayis Yehudi, a Jewish home, or befrat kishemaschilim livnois bayis Yisrael based on Nisuim, especially when we begin to build a Jewish home at the time of marriage. Tzarech liyas nirgesh, it has to be felt. Shamatarav atachlis hiva shafsar Shabbos l'Hashem. The goal, the end, is to build, is to have the land be a Shabbos for Hashem. Oifen ha'anhoga de Yom HaShabbos. It should be in a manner of Shabbos. What is Shabbos about? It says Yom HaShabbos hu Yom Menucha. Shabbos day is about a day of rest. Menuchas ha'nefesh u menuchas ha'guf. He has both a soul rest and a body rest. What does it mean, both soul and body? The key, since he has all of his needs already prepared, Hareyu b'maimed umatzav shel, he's in a state and situation of menucha mikala bilbulim. He's in a state of arrest from all disturbances, from anything that would interfere, v'daigas aparnosa, and any worries and concerns of making a living. And therefore, we could add and ascend. They will go from strength to strength in all matters of goodness and holiness. So, since it becomes a Shabbos dika home, so just like Shabbos, the person transcends all the weekday worries, so the Shabbos dika home influences that even in the middle of the week he transcends all these types of worries. Based on this, second paragraph on the page, Nasis klolos hanhoga v'meshach kol yimei hashvua becomes the general type of activity throughout the days of the week. Shisaskusei b'inyonei haparnasa hilaloi bilbulim v'daigas. That the ways involved in matters of making a living is in the way of no disturbances and no worries. Why? How is it that during the week he has no worries? Because he's permeated with a true faith and true trust that Hashem provides all of his needs. Like we say in benching, the one, talking about Hashem, who sustains the entire world with his goodness, with favor, with kindness and mercy. The Kivin Shekain, since he is freed from all worries in his weekday days, therefore, he adds even more in matters of holiness. How does he do so? He adds and increases in giving tzedakah by knowing not only will he not be lacking in his needs because he's giving away his money to others, so how am I going to be able to afford X, Y, or Z? Because he's not worried about that. And not only that, Allah Adra, but just the opposite. Aser, nesinas meiser, b'shvil shtis aser. Give meiser for the sake that you will become rich. That is one benefit that makes the home turn over, that he physically, because he's not worried about parnasa, he'll give money away. He'll become even more successful. And also, the freedom of worries causes that through the fact that he decreases in the time that he's involved in the parnas and making a living, and instead he adds in establishing set times for Torah study. Through that is added even more so in the Baruch of Hashem. This is primarily accomplished through Jewish women. The foundation of every Jewish home. They are the ones that cause to permeate in the home the idea that it's a Shabbos for Hashem in the way they run the entire household. Like it's emphasized both concerning the day of Shabbos itself, and also concerning the way it influences the entire days of the week. And the Rebbe goes on and says that the Rebbe speaks about, that the entire week they're already planning for Shabbos, even though this is not the approach of Beis Hillel, this is Beis Shammai, but the women, when it comes to mitzvahs that they are responsible for, they add in those mitzvahs more and above and beyond, and therefore the entire week they're already planning and thinking about Shabbos more so than men is. And in a similar vein, the Rebbe goes on in Ois Zion, the second paragraph on that next page, in a similar vein, the way the day of Shabbos influences the entire days of the week, both concerning negating any worry and concern of making a living. Also concerning adding and increasing in matters of holiness. A great portion and a primary portion of the above is accomplished through Jewish women. Concerning the negating of worry of making a living, like we said before, that there's no concern because he knows that Hashem gives him all of his needs. Isa b'Gemara, it's brought down the Gemara, she'ein bracha mitzuyah b'tech b'isei shel adam ela b'shvil ishtay. Blessing is only found in the home of a person only by the sake of his woman, meaning the woman makes the vessel for the bracha of Hashem in matters of parnasa. Concerning addition in matters of holiness and tzedakah and Torah study. In addition to the fact that the woman has the capability of giving food for the poor person to eat that's ready. A man is going out into the street, somebody asks him for tzedakah, he doesn't have ready-made food to share with him. The woman has greater opportunity that when a poor person comes to the door, she can actually give him ready-made food. How do you do it? It's known that the midah, the attribute of compassion, mercy, and doing acts of kindness, skip the parentheses, are more in the nature of women, kindness and compassion, than by men. Therefore, women put in greater effort when it comes to tzedakah. Both in encouraging their husbands to give more tzedakah, and both in their own giving tzedakah from the money that they earn. Like the custom is in our days, in many homes, that women are also assisting in making a living. Why? Why do women have to make more money for the household? So that they should be able to give more tzedakah, so they should be able to invite more guests. Especially what the Rebbe was speaking about lately, it is appropriate and it's correct to build in to the wall of a tzedakah pushka in the kitchen. Mitbach, it's called in modern Hebrew. That over there, the woman prepares all the physical food for the entire family. Today, to remind the necessity of fulfilling the mitzvah of tzedakah. And again, shayada, through doing that mitzvah, is added in the bracha of Hashem in matters of making a living. Like we said before, that give meiser for the sake that you will become rich. I'm going to skip over a few pages. The Rebbe says further, top of the page, Ois Yud, Lefnei Asiyum, before concluding this Sicha, Yesh Levarach has called Miskansis, we should give a bracha to all those gathered, Bebirchas Kabal, Satoira Besimcha, Pnimius, and the bracha of receiving and accepting the Torah with joy and internalized like the language of the blessing that my father-in-law gave. Okay, like his directive. When Jews meet in proximity to the Yom Tov of Shavuos, Man Matan Tereseinu, the time of the giving of our Torah, Yivarchu Ishas Re'eu, that a person should give a bracha to their fellow, V'ish al Re'usa, and a woman to her friend, V'chein Hataf, and so do the children to each other. B'brichas kabal sa'Torah b'simcha pnimis, the bracha, the receiving the Torah with joy and internalized. Moving, it's understood. So that the receiving of the Torah should be with true joy and truly internal. That we have to add with the joy and the internalized thing in the days prior to it, until the joy should become nature to every single Jew, especially by Jewish women. Should call Oira Chayav, that the entire way how they're running their lives in Simcha is out of joy, by from Pnimian, an internalized fashion. And automatically, it's easier to prepare and to receive the Torah with joy and internalized. Though the Torah is it's longer than even the earth is its measure, until it's beyond any type of measure and any type of boundary. It's the capability in every single Jew to receive the entire Torah. You say them as and even more so to receive the entire Torah in a rejoicing way and an internalized way. And the Rebbe goes on in different brachas, but let's conclude with the final part of brachas. Over pashtus, and simply put, should take of miyad mamish, that immediately gula mitzvah shleima, the true and complete redemption arrives. Uboim kolonu yachtav manan ishmaya, we come all together with the clouds of heaven, l'artzenu akdosh, to our holy land, Yerushalayim HaKodesh, to Yerushalayim, the holy city, lahar HaKodesh, to the holy mountain, labeis HaMikdash, and to the Beis HaMikdash, v'sham miskaynim l'kabal sa'Torah b'simcha pnimis. Now, over there we will prepare ourselves for receiving the Torah in a joyous way, an internalized way. And in the brackets it says that after the Rebbe gave dollars to the ones in charge of Neshei Chabad, the Rebbe concluded, Afreilichen Shabbos, a joyous Shabbos, Afreilichen Rosh Chodesh, a joyous Rosh Chodesh, and Afreilichen Yom Tov, and a joyous Yom Tov.